Pokémon has a long history of great games where you form a deep relationship with the Pokémon you catch, battle, and even eat with. But it's the same game over and over again. What if I want something different? But not one where I play as a Pokemon like Mystery Dungeon. I still want to be a human. Well, back in 2005, in order to take advantage of the DS stylus and touchpad, the Pokemon Company decided to really think out of the box. Introducing Pokémon Ranger, a Pokemon game where you don't capture Pokemon with Pokeballs, but instead with a capture styler. You also don't fight with or against Pokemon in this game, making this stand out from the rest. So I was telling my friends about the next game I was reviewing when one of them said,
Pokemon Ranger, isn't it the game where you draw circles?
And I thought, that can't be it. This game has to be known for something more than just a game where you draw circles. So I set out to find out if this game was a hidden gem. After harassing the Pokemon Rangers, begging them to let me join, they let me join. This game takes place in the Fiore region, where they don't capture Pokemon. They just walk around as wild animals, but because they're wild animals, they can become agitated and lash out. That's when the Rangers come in to calm down the Pokemon. How, you might ask? By drawing circles. It's just so simple.
I'm tweaking, man. I'm tweaking, man. Oh wow, I'm suddenly very calm.
Yeah, this is all you do in the game. When you draw a circle around a Pokemon, a number will pop up telling you how many more circles you need to loop around the Pokemon. And once you do that, the number flashes orange, then you lift up your stylus to capture the Pokemon. This is very important. You cannot lift up your stylus at all during the capture, because if you do before the numbers flashes orange, then you need to restart from the beginning. If the Pokemon runs into your circle or you accidentally hit the Pokemon, then the circle breaks and you have to restart again. If the Pokemon lands an attack on the circle, then you receive damage and you need to restart again. If you don't do all the loops perfectly, you just have to restart and keep trying. The gameplay is simple, but because of how many things that can mess you up, bigger and multiple Pokemon can be difficult. You can also use captured Pokemon to make capturing other Pokemon easier. But so far, it really is just the game where you draw circles. But that can't be it. There has to be more. Maybe the story carries this game. I met Spencer, a ranger leader, and he helped me capture my first Pokemon, a Minun, making me an official Pokemon Ranger, even getting my first task of saving this guy's lost Pokemon. Okay, sir, I just need you to describe your Pokemon for me.
Okay, it's powerful yet classy. It has a slinky look, but it's also clunky. You know, like a Pokemon.
Yeah, it was a Tallow, by the way. The same Minun that I captured in the beginning is harassing more Pokemon, but I realized that he can actually be a big help by studying Pokemon to help me capture them. So I made him my partner. Me and you, Minun, we're gonna save the world.
Mi hermano en Cristo. Yo no hablo inglés.
I met Professor Hastings, who has invented the Super Styler, which in the wrong hands can mean the end of the world. So it got into the wrong hands when the bad guy group, the Go Rock Squad, corners him in a cave and steals it. With the Super Styler, they would be able to tame legendary Pokemon to do their bidding. This is very important. Naturally, every ranger was set up to find and recover the Super Stylus. Everyone except for me. So I just go around and help people around town, like help this lady with her many skitties, light up a basement with a Staryu, and stop a Machoke from committing an act of terrorism. The sewers then get overrun by Grimers, and this mission sucks. Up to this point, the game has been fairly easy. But now it just suddenly gets hard. Multiple Pokemon can be attacking you at the same time, and it is difficult to circle both of them, so you try to go for one at a time. But the Pokemon will just run into your line and ruin your capture, making you have to restart. It gets worse with Grimer because they leave a trail behind them that damages you, so you don't have a lot of chances to catch them. It gets even worse with Muck. This game made me single-handedly hate this Pokemon. With Muck being bigger along with 2 Grimers, it's insanely difficult to take them out one at a time. You can call it a skill issue all you want, but I cannot stress how difficult this fight was. Now, you may have noticed, I have not been playing this game on its original hardware, mainly because I can't capture gameplay off of my DS, but the game is easier on the DS. Yes, the game is easier with a touchpad and a stylus, but even the Muck fight was difficult on the DS. The Go Rock Squad has been spotted in Summerland, so I go there to investigate and they kidnap a Politoad. I meet the wannabe Beetles with the Go Rock Quad, and they do this intro every single time, and it just keeps getting funnier. They warn me that they're going to put an end to the Rangers once they find a legendary Pokemon. On my way to find the Politoad, I get attacked by 2 Mankeys and a Primeape, and this encounter sucks. They just move around all over the place so I can never complete a circle. Then in the next fight, I can't circle Paris because of the constant glitter effect from the Butterfree. It's not because Primeape or Butterfree are difficult to capture on their own, they're fairly easy. It's when there's multiple Pokemon to capture that makes it difficult. 2 Pokemon? That's a challenge, but 3 Pokemon? That's just downright impossible! What's next? 8 Seedots? I was then attacked by 8 Seedots. Back when I was in the cave and first met the Go Rock Squad, they blocked off the path with giant rocks, so now I have to finally take care of it. I make it to the cave and learned that I need to use a Hariyama. Catching one though was hopeless. It was a mixture of him attacking the line on sight, like he would chase down the line to attack it, me choking on the final loop, and the fact that you can form a loop around him while he's attacking, but you need to be very careful about it. What's worse is that after this Hariyama, there's 2 of them! I couldn't capture 1! How am I going to capture 2 at the same time? I actually gave up. I had to physically walk away from this game upset by how difficult this capture was. But the perfectionist inside of me couldn't accept this failure, so I had to come up with a new tactic. What if I use a real gaming mouse? And that's exactly what I did, and I don't know what happened, but it got a lot easier. I was able to draw much better circles and avoid attacks easier to the point of first trying some of the Hariyamas. With all 3 finally captured, I clear the rocks from the cave and move on to find a lost old man in the woods, who is definitely the main villain. The way he dresses, the evil laugh he keeps doing, and the fact that he's a dick. Karen tells me about this legend called the 4 challenges. Rangers do these challenges to see if they're good or not, but you must not complete the 4th and final challenge, lest a great calamity befall all of us. The challenges are just trying to navigate to the big Pokemon at the end and then capture them. And that is the 3rd challenge done.
Great, so we're done now since we can't do the 4th challenge.
I want to do the 4th challenge.
What?
My mind is upset with an incomplete task as I need to do the 4th challenge.
Shira, remember, a great calamity will befall all of us. Do you really want a great calamity?
I did the 4th challenge. Oh hey, look! It's an Entei. You know, they say an Entei is born every time there's a new volcano.
Shiro,
Yes?
there's lava all around us now.
I see.
No voy a morir con estas patético discurso de grave bosque. Ay, mirando la hora, voy a salir tarde por la quinceañera.
You said it, little buddy. Yeah, so completing the challenges causes a legendary Pokemon to appear, which, need I remind you, the Go Rock Squad has been looking for a legendary Pokemon to take control of. So this is kinda bad. The boss of the Go Rock Squad, Gorder, by the way, hi Gorder, did capture the Entei with his super stylus and is going to let the volcano explode, destroying most of the wildlife in the Fiore region. So I need to capture Entei, and he is hard. So I had to take another break and think of a new tactic to help me get through this challenge. What if I just don't get hit? And that's exactly what I did. Just taking my time and hanging around the edges of the screen. Avoiding the Pokemon by being on the other side of the screen, then quickly diving in after their attack to get 2 or 3 loops, and then quickly retreating back to the edge of the screen until my next opportunity. This tactic works super well. Unless there are multiple Pokemon, then it's not that effective. But Entei is just one Pokemon, so this tactic should help. Immediately, he summons 2 other Pokemon beside him, making this tactic completely useless. Even once I took care of the other 2 Pokemon and Entei was all by himself, I kept making the mistake of trying to dive in too soon before the attack was over. Usually when a Pokemon's attack animation is over, so is the attack. but not with Entei. His fire keeps going even after his animation is done.
Oh, okay. Entei just closed his mouth. Does that mean his attack is done?
No. Eventually, I do capture Entei and save Fiore. But Go-Rock has started producing their own super stylist at the Dusk factory. So I shut down the factory and went to their hideout in Windtown, where I'm only supposed to be a decoy. But instead, I go through a boss rush of the Go-Rock Quartet, or whatever they're called, I forget. And it is grueling. Each one of them have multiple big Pokemon, and if I lose at any point, I need to restart from the first fight. I once again had to take another break and think of a new tactic to help me get through these 4 fights. When I realized, wait a minute, I'm on PC. I can just abuse save states. And that's exactly what I did. I started cheating. Every time I would catch one of their Pokemon, I would make a save state so that I wouldn't need to do everything all over again. So slowly but surely, I was able to capture all of their Pokemon, which still wasn't easy, I might add, and so they self-destruct their secret hideout. Finally, it's time to stop the Go-Rock Squad boss, who has captured all 3 legendary dogs. But why? Why would he do all of this? You might have noticed, I never explained the Go-Rock Squad motive to do what they were doing. That's because they didn't tell me until right now, at the final boss fight! Basically, they're going to create a calamity and then the Go-Rock Squad swoops in to save the day, making them the heroes instead of the Pokemon Rangers. Need motive, wish they could have told me what it was earlier in the game. Now comes the hardest final boss fight, where I need to capture Raikou, Suicune, and Entei. Thankfully, the developers decided to give me some mercy and not have all of the legendary dogs attack me at once. Doesn't make them any easier. I got stuck on the first one, Raikou. He has these lightning attacks where lightning will strike anywhere on the screen randomly, so it's a big risk keeping my line around the edges, so I need to capture him as fast as possible. But he keeps running all over the place and running into my line, breaking it. I tried for hours to capture Raikou to no success. And there's nothing I could do. No new tactic to come up with. No way to abuse save states in this fight. Nothing I could do, and what sucks is, I had a secret weapon. I captured an Umbreon earlier in the game, and Umbreon's Poke Assist is overpowered. Umbreon increases your line length, making it easier to capture Pokemon. The issue is, I wanted to save this secret weapon for Entei. But with my back up against the wall, I had no choice but to use it on Raikou. And man, did it make Raikou so much easier. Suicune was also a joke. Minun is able to stun him for a long time, and it is just so easy. Now it's time to face Entei, with no more Pokemon to help me in this fight other than Minun. So I use Minun and realize that Entei is stunned for just enough time for me to capture him. But I need to be perfect. If I ran into him once, then the attempt is just lost. So, abusing save states and trying over and over and over again, I finally did it. All 3 of the legendary dogs are captured and freed. But Gordor escapes and reminisces about the good old days with Professor Hastings, because apparently they used to know each other. Never mentioned anywhere else in the game, and then everyone clapped. This game was not that good. There's no deep story like in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, you don't form deep connections with your partner like in the mainline games, and it's just not fun like Pokemon Pinball. It's just a hard game where you draw circles. Ever since the muck fight in the sewers, I hated playing this game. At that point, the game got difficult. Again, probably a skill issue, but I started to hate the capture mechanic. It's mainly the fact that any little thing can mess up a capture and you need to start over again. My biggest gripe on the mechanic is that you can't lift your stylus off of the touchpad at all, otherwise you need to restart. And the opposite of needing to lift your stylus at the end, otherwise you don't capture the Pokemon. I've had times where I successfully drew the correct amount of circles, but I was drawing circles so fast and aggressively, I would mess up before I could lift the stylus, so the capture just didn't happen. So the main gameplay wasn't that special. but the whole game is not that bad. What I liked about the game was the graphics. It is a beautiful game with great environments. The Pokemon look great, fantastic character designs, the Rangers look good, and the music greatly complemented the game. There are some bangers in this soundtrack to the point that I might be using these songs in future videos because of the emotions that they can convey. And I have to give credit where credit is due, the game was pretty funny. There were a handful of jokes that made me chuckle a little bit before returning to the game. I also really love Minun and Plusle being your partner Pokemon, as I really love them and think they should be used more as mascots. And here's the thing, I actually like the catcher mechanic when there was only one Pokemon. It's when there was multiple Pokemon that I hated it. I also didn't like the story in this game. There really isn't anything interesting that happened in between the 4 challenges and the end of the game. Sure, you shut down a factory, find a missing piece of a submarine, and travel through a mountain to find their secret hideout. But none of that impacts the story. I also hated the Go Rock Squad. For the whole game, I thought they were being evil for the sake of being evil. No, they have an actual motive. I just don't know about it. And I'm trying to stop them for the whole game without knowing why they're even doing this. Sure, they told me they're going to put an end to the Rangers, but never why they wanted to do that. I'm not saying the story should be deep and sad like in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, but I've seen better stories told in mainline Pokemon games. But like I said, the difficulty could be too much at times. And I was complaining about it to my friends when they mentioned that they found the Pokemon Ranger sequels to be easy, even as kids. What? So I picked up Pokemon Ranger Guardian Signs, and you're not going to believe this, but they fixed the capturing mechanic. You don't need to do all of the circles in one try. As you circle the Pokemon, their capture meter fills up until you capture them. But you can lift your stylus off of the screen to avoid an attack, or even if a Pokemon touches your line and destroys it, you don't lose any progress, and you can just continue the capture where you left off. And the best part? You don't need to lift your stylus at the end to capture the Pokemon. It just automatically captures it for you. So many quality of life changes that if you really want to experience a Pokemon Ranger game, just play the sequels. Avoid the first one like the plague. There's no good story, and the difficulty will make you want to quit.
Y también, ustedes quieren buscar un nuevo VTuber, pueden buscar en otra parte.
Hey, Minun? I'm reading this book, and according to this, you hate me.
Pues usted no dice.
Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like what you saw, you should hit that subscribe button. I would like to thank all of my Patreons, and you should check out another one of my videos. They're pretty good.